Hi, I'm Holly Grant, the Grants and Programming Director for ASI. Welcome to the second video in our SCR Grant Video Series. Today, we'll be going over the basics of our SCR grants, formerly known as DEC grants, including some changes to the application process. I will also share a few grant writing tips for a successful application. All of the information in this video will be covered in our 2022 SCR information sessions in more depth. There will be plenty of time to ask any specific questions you may have during those sessions. You can also find all the dates, times, and locations for our information sessions on our website. Now, let's get into it. There are three funding categories available in the SCR program: community arts, arts education, and individual artist commission grants. All of these categories fund community-based arts projects that take place in Erie, Niagara, and Chautauqua counties during the 2022 calendar year. Community arts grants provide up to $5,000 for community-based arts projects managed by nonprofit organizations, government entities, tribal organizations, and individual artists. All projects must have a public component, meaning it is open and accessible to the entire community. There are additional eligibility requirements outlining the types of projects that can be funded, and those can all be found in the 2022 SCR guidelines, which are posted on our website. The Arts Education Grant provides up to $5,000 to eligible nonprofit organizations and individual artists to support arts education projects that take place in K-12 public schools, publicly funded charter schools, and after-school programs. The projects must include a minimum of 3 sequential hands-on learning sessions with stated learning goals, methodologies, and outcomes. If you are planning an in-school project, you must also include a letter of commitment from the partner school. Additional eligibility information can be found in the guidelines. The Individual Artist Commission Grant provides support to individuals for the creation of a brand new work that engages with the community. Funding is available between the amounts of $1,000 and $2,500. All projects must include a public engagement component either during the creation of the work or once the work has been completed. Additional details and eligibility information for this grant are outlined in the guidelines. At ASI, we use an online platform to manage all of our grant applications. To access the SCR grant application, you will need to create an account in our online grants portal. Once your account has been created, you can start an application for any of our available grants. The grants portal will also track and save all previous grant applications that you have submitted and includes details such as panel feedback, contracts, and payment details. This year's SCR application has been streamlined and is broken down into several sections that easily and clearly organize all of the required information we need to know about your project. Now, a few tips for starting your SCR grant application. Our first tip is make sure you have a project or a program that is more than just an idea. There are many logistical areas that you will need to provide details on in your application, including dates, times, locations, expenses, partners, etc., in order to successfully receive a grant. This means you should have conversations with artists and potential partners or venues before you even start writing your grant application. That being said, if you cannot move forward on your project without this SCR funding, please do not sign contracts or enter into any agreements that you cannot back out of if you are not awarded this funding. Make sure any conversations you have with potential partners, artists, or venues clearly articulate that the project will only move forward if you receive this funding. However, as community arts and arts education grants are matching grants, meaning you can only apply for up to 50% of your total project's costs, you should have other funding in place or a plan for how you will secure other funding sources before you begin your grant application. Our second tip is make sure you read through all the guidelines directions, and application questions very carefully before you start filling anything out. You need to make sure your project is eligible for the grant you're applying to. You will also need to know what materials and information are required to complete the application. This includes letters of commitments, budget details, dates, times, locations, and more. You don't want to waste your time completing an application for a grant you cannot receive because your project is ineligible or the application is incomplete. If you're unsure whether or not your project is eligible for a certain grant or grant category, please reach out to me and ask before starting your application. So now you know you have a viable and eligible project, you know many of the details that are required, and you're ready to start filling out your application. My top grant writing tip is make sure you answer the questions being asked in the application. I know, that sounds pretty obvious, but it isn't always. There is certain information that is required for the panel to make a funding recommendation. You will need to provide details and narratives that are both compelling and provide a clear picture of what your final project will look like. When we ask for a project description, we need to know exactly what the community will experience if your project is funded. And get to the point. Don't bury your details in flowery language. Our grant panelists read a lot of applications, and it can be very tedious if the information they need is not immediately clear. Please do not make them dig for your answers. All of our grants are peer-reviewed. That means artists and arts administrators from our region are reviewing your application and making a funding recommendation. You don't need to spell out your creative process or spend time defending why your project is important and valuable for our community. They already know, and they want to give you money to do the amazing things you are proposing in your application. What you need to do as the applicant is prove to them that you are the right individual or organization to do that particular project and that you have the capacity and ability to pull it off successfully. Side note, if you want to be one of our grant review panelists, email me at Holly, HOLLY, @asiwny.org with your current resume, CV, or bio that outlines your work in the arts field. And be sure to mention in the email that you are interested in becoming a grants panelist so I know why I'm receiving your credentials. And that leads me to my last grant writing tip. Give yourself enough time. A successful grant application cannot be written in a day or even a week. There are a lot of details and supplemental materials that need to be included. You will also want to proofread and review your application before you submit it. Our 2022 SCR applications are due November 18th. We also offer a free staff review and feedback on your draft SCR application. Drafts will need to be submitted no later than Wednesday, November 3rd by noon to receive this feedback. This valuable review is helpful for anyone applying for funding, but especially for first-time applicants. You can learn more about our SCR grants, including reviewing the guidelines and additional grant writing tips on our website. We also encourage you to attend one of the information sessions or just reach out to me at any point with any questions. That's all for this video. If you like this video or know someone who would be interested in its content, please share it. And don't forget to subscribe to ASI's YouTube page. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.